Hello everybody and welcome back to KevKreates. Today we're going to be doing a tutorial over the painting tool. Let me go ahead and go back. I was kind of playing around with it earlier. I've actually shot this video once now already and I went over time. Again, I'm trying to make these tutorials at least 5 minutes long, so we're going to get into it. Multi, multi, Multicolor and multi-material printing is possible on a lot of the Bambu Lab printers already, especially even these desktop printers like the A1 Mini. You can hook up an AMS to it, which is a multi-material and multicolor printing accessory that can be used on the A1 series. Today for our colors, we have white, black, green, and red. You can even change the materials that are here by clicking on the taskbar associated with each one of these numbers, which is just reflective of the colors that we have on the AMS. You can even change the color here. So let's say that I take the white and I replaced it with a pink. See how easy that is? It also, for the very first color, if this is your base color, it changes it automatically. We're going to stick with white though for the tutorial. So we're going to go from the left to the right with the tool types. The first one is circle. Pretty self-explanatory. You're using a freehand tool in order to paint. The sphere is the 3D version of that, where let's say that we have two knives stacked against each other, something like that. It will paint everything that comes into contact with it, including objects that are on the other side of your knife. Let me go back. Triangle, you're just painting the triangle geometries that are being detected by the software. So if let's say for example, I just wanted to paint the tang of the knife here, or I'm sorry, not the tang, the serration of the knife here, click and drag and look at that. We're getting the paint going here. I'll leave that black for now. We're going to go back anyway. Height range is just you are coloring the layer heights. As it's printing, your 3D printer will switch between different filaments here. You can even do a crosshatch here. It could be very useful if you're making like revolver grips or you are making a multi-layered cake of an object and you want to have just an easier time painting each and every single height. Let's go back. And for the very final one that I think is useful, to me gap fill isn't useful and I'll explain why in a bit, is the fill tool or the paint bucket tool. It'll normally come up as connected same color. We're going to get out of that. Edge detection is way more useful. Smart fill angle is the one that you'll mostly be using. Section view, here's what that does. If you up the section view, it actually shows you different layers. I'm sorry, different parts and sections of the actual 3D print. I never really use that though. I like looking at the whole thing, the sum of its parts. So we play around with Smart Fill Angle, and that allows the software to identify the edges that we're seeing here. We're just going to do this. We're going to go through and fill in our lettering because I want y'all to see what this looks like whenever we go to actually do the 3D print. Oh, no, we went too far. I want the lettering to be black. Nice. You know what? What's that going to do? Nope. So let's say that I wanted our little key ring hole to be black. Maybe I up the section here. Hold up. There we go. Here. Nope. See, we gotta use this carefully. Nope. Am I gonna have to go to 1? Yeah, we're gonna have to go to 1. Yeah, we're gonna have to go to 1. Sometimes the tool is useful, but then sometimes you have curves like this, where you just gotta be patient and work with the tool, you know? This is what we got. We gotta work with it. And I gotta rotate and then zoom in. Sometimes you get lucky and you get bigger chunks that get painted. By the way, if you want to be able to paint multiple sections at the exact same time, you can click and then drag, like I'm doing here. All right, that's enough of that. You kind of get the idea here. That is the final tool on the painting list that I think is useful. Gap fill to me is not particularly useful. I'll tell you why. Gap fill is only really used if you have like specks of paint on your object, and the gap fill is just to make sure that everything gets filled in. But here's the thing. You see how I just hit gap fill? Hold on, hold on. Let's go back. Let's go back. See how I just hit gap fill and like a little bitty section was just filled in? My thing is, it's not it's not a very useful tool because you hit gap fill and you think it's going to fill in the whole thing. Nope, barely does anything. And that's why I think, you got to be thorough whenever you're coming around and filling everything in. Because I just hit gap fill and I remember earlier, I'm pretty sure I painted these in. I think gap fill just took them off. You got to be thorough. There we go. And now we have a painted object. But we're going to go even further. Let's take that. And I want the other side of the knife to be red because I guess I'm just a weirdo. I don't know why I want it to be red. I want it to be red though. Then we're going to hit slice. Wow, would you look at that? When we go to 3D print the knife, what we're going to see is all these different colors that are used. This right here, hold up, let me come over here. This right here, this is just a square that the 3D printer will just naturally make. This is like kind of like the pile that it uses whenever we're going up a layer. So let's get into it. Down here you can see we have black, white, and red for that last layer down here. That's also reflected in the filaments that are used. It even gives you exact grams of how much is used. And when you use multicolor or multi-material printing, your printing time will naturally go up because the tool head that is using the AMS will naturally have to change out the material or the color. So when you actually get the 3D print that comes out, this is what it'll kind of look like. So we do have an issue down here though. See that? It's not going to come through all the way because I shrank the object, but on top of that, we could be missing a vital setting called detect thin walls. Down here, we have very, very, very thin walls that are down here. So maybe turning on detect thin walls will actually allow the 3D printing slicer to pick up areas that were missed. I always turn that on whenever I do 3D printing. Look at that. Look at that. We just saved a little bit of time because imagine that you go back and we're missing this. Embedding the wall into infill. Let's try that again. Like I said, you got to play around with these settings. You got to play around with them. It's not going to come out perfect a lot of the times whenever you are shrinking, dragging, and resizing the objects from the original file, because like I did. So let's go ahead and make it bigger and see if that fixes it. I've had this issue on my Anycubic slicing software as well. I'm hoping that, yeah, that's exactly what it was. When you shrink an object, sometimes you can get really weird outcomes with the slicing software not wanting to do the color infill right. But if we go back to the original sizing, as you can see, as you can see, we have ourselves a colored object. Let me know what you guys think. Again, I will try to release a tutorial every single day. Please leave a like, a comment, subscribe. This is KevKreates. I hope you have a wonderful week.